Among the flora and the fauna, beneath the branches who want to love you, among the many souls who drive and lose control and stumble into a secret right under your nose.
Blessings, fellow weird and wild ones. My name's Goddess, aka G, aka your friendly neighborhood witch. They, them, their pronouns, please and thank you, point blank, period. Thank you for joining me in the practice of finding our way back to wholeness. This is our temple, our playground, our life, and our truths. During our audio session together, I will be talking with my village on how we are healing, changing paradigms, and decolonizing and degendering the mind. You are not alone. You are enough. Let's plant these divine seeds together. This work is for the collective from me, and there's a lot of magic that goes on behind the scenes. Find ways to support and reciprocate me and the other co-creators on the show at the links below. Grab your pens and paper, grab your woes, and let go.
Among the flora and the fauna, beneath the branches who wanna love you.
Shout out and big thank you to a dear friend of mine, Lori Amadeo, for sharing her track Radiate Out with us. Check it out on the SoundCloud link below. Shana is the owner of one of the first all-natural beauty salons in Atlanta and turned to sound healing as a way to find peace in her own busy life. She was so in love with it, she decided to learn sound therapy and became a certified sound therapy healer. Shana uses quartz crystal bowls, chimes, and a gong in her meditation sessions and offers intuitive readings to attendees at the end of each session. Welcome, Shana. Thank you so much for being here. Hey.
I always hear people on the podcast always say like, oh, it's an honor to be here. But this is like literally my first podcast ever. So in my mind, I'm like, this is historical and amazing for me because one day my grandchildren will be like, that was that one podcast that grandma was on.
Yes.
So
I wish it was known.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Happy
Thank
day.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing with the rest of the community so I could be here. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I'll go first. I'll do a check-in, but I do want to say how I found out about you because I think that's really important to like your work in general and what we're talking about. So I'll start first.
She was stalking. I was okay. Don't even try it. Like I used to see you just on the lurk. Like she think I can no. No, I'm just kidding.
I was like semi-lurking, but like with good intent. It wasn't like a creepy stuck. It was like oh good. Okay. Let me really okay.
Laying awake at night, talk about some this ain't a post something. I wonder. Did I get the alert? Let me look. The lie. I'm lying, y'all, totally. I'm just saying the shit that I do when I stalk people. So don't do that. Nothing like that happened with Goddess at all, y'all. At all.
No, I mean like I did creep, but like in a like a healthy way. Anyway, wait, let me start with the product so that we can. Oh Lord, okay. It's gonna be a good conversation already. I can tell. Okay, so my name's Goddess. I use they, them, their pronouns, and I am Black-bodied. How about you, Shana?
I am she, her, and I am definitely an African body in whatever form that looks like, and they come in all the forms of human life. So this one is a very brown body that I absolutely love.
Yes. I was giving you snaps. You can't see them or see the dancing, but I was all of that. Yes. Oh, yeah. Okay, so the check-in today is about our heartbeat. We're talking about rhythms today. We're talking about music and sound. So what is your, in this moment right now, what is your heartbeat and breath telling you?
Okay, so let me just sink into that for a minute. So I feel an openness, but not only open, but an expansion. So I've tuned into my heart and my heartbeat before, and everybody knows on different days and different moments it can feel a different way. So although you may be having a good day and getting all the things that you need at the grocery store, your heart can still feel like really blocked or like how you have that defense up, like, oh Lord, I hope this lady at the grocery store don't ask for shit.
Yes.
Or
yes.
whatever. You know that your heart is supposed to be open because you see a homeless person on the corner, like, literally asking for your coins, and you're just like, not today, fam. Like, I just donated, blah, blah, blah. So you just have that kind of block up or this guilt up. But in this moment, I feel this openness to, like, the giving and the receiving, but also this huge amount of expansion that clearly is probably going to be coming from our dialogue. Yeah, that's what I feel.
We're so happy. Definitely feel the same. Yeah, absolutely. There's this I'm not like, I'm here and I'm present and I feel that, but it's been a while since I've been very still in my own body, and so I'm still thawing out that connection to my heart for like the last month, but like definitely feeling it today with that question brought me back to that, like, just, being on survival mode and dealing with different things, especially right now, like you were saying, like there's this guard up, and it keeps this guard up not only for others but for ourselves and being in tune with our own body. So that's there, but also this such light, like that's what I do feel, is this yellow golden light shining on like my right side, and that's this conversation is like bringing me back, bringing me home, family. Like that's what I feel the most.
Yeah, the whole conversation about gold light is a whole thing we need to talk about at some point on the podcast or on somewhere else. But yeah, that gold light is some real shit, man.
Yes. Yeah. I'm down. I'm so down. We already talked about doing like a podcast about like solitary witchery. I'm like, yes, let's talk about the practice. You're gonna be on a few times.
Good. I'm excited.
We already know this. Oh goodness. Okay. So as a sound healer, can you tell us a little bit about your journey with that, or like what happened in your life that were kind of pivotal moments involving sound?
Yeah. So let me start out by saying I didn't have this deep growing up with like music in the house all the time. You know how like you hear musicians have these legacies of seeing sounds and being in families that just constantly were playing the record player or going to church and hear. I didn't have any of that. I went to church with my grandparents in a congregation of maybe 50 folks, and that included the choir. So I love the sound in church, but like I wasn't exposed to some like riveting musical experiences or spiritual experiences that included sound. So I really want to put that out there for those people who think that their gifts in life have to be evident in other people's past stories. You know what I mean? That's them. That's not you. And that's something that I had to learn too. Like, this is a musical sound. I'm not a musician. Where do I get the guts to do this when, you know, there are people who are saying they've been hearing music in their heads since, you know, they were 3 years old. Mine came from capitalism.
Wait, can you say that again?
I became a sound therapist through the woes of capitalism. So,
you said capitalism? Wait, where's your mic at right now? Because I need everyone to hear what you're talking about. Like
capitalism.
Okay.
The structure of capitalism is what drove me to sound healing, because I was in extreme burnout. And I was not going to let it kill me in the way that it killed my grandmother and my aunts and all these other people of like, I care, I'm going to work my ass off, I'm going to get everything that I possibly can. Like, I'm eating all the right things. I am 5'9" and 120 pounds. I'm already a skinny person. I'm happy and joyful, and I am exhausted. I'm crying every day. And I'm doing a thing that I absolutely love, which is hair. Like, I have loved doing hair since I was 5 years old. Like, anything that you could give me that I could put my hands in some hair, and especially it being curly, that's all I wanted to do. So once I established the salon, and because I have just like a really, really, really high level of energy, I could work 60 to 80 hours and be so stoked because I was in the combination of working with Black women, getting to beautify them by just doing their hair, getting to talk to them. So it was like, I get up every morning and I get to go and see my friend or my sister. Like, I'm in Atlanta and I get these amazing people that I get to share life with, basically. And they pay me. Like, I was like, oh my God, I get paid to do this thing that I love and I get to do it with Black women. So that's what I did. I worked my ass off. And then when there would be other things that I needed to do, for example, I'm divorced. I had to go to Tennessee every other weekend to get my son. I would work all those hours. I would get up, drive through the night, go and pick him up, and go to work the next morning. He would hang out with me at work for 2 days. Then I would drive to Tennessee after work on Sunday and drop him back off with his dad. Like, that was my life, plus some court cases involving his dad, all this shit. It didn't matter. I was doing all the things. So after about, I don't know how long that lasted, and when I say that I started the salon, I literally created it, like the logos, the colors. Like, I created everything myself with the aid of, maybe a graphic designer who I had to tell ideas to. And like, I did all those things myself because I thought that that's what Black women did. There was no question to me that this is what Black women did. I never went and got a loan. I never asked anybody for any money because that's just not what Black people do. Also, I've been told over and over again, you're a woman and you're Black, so there aren't any resources for you. So everything was hand to mouth. So if I made money from a client, I would take that money and then pay another Black woman who is, a graphic designer to create the logo. And then I would sit at home and take that logo myself all night and create a website. That's the kind of mentality that I was working on, and that's the mentality of 90% of the Black women that I know. To this day, they're still functioning on this very, very high level of output, creativity, and care for other people in their community. So my body was failing. It just could not sustain this amount of mental energy, physical energy, and I had completely forgotten my spirit because how can you? Like, there's shit to do. Who's got time to think about their spirit? So, and especially in our society, like, capitalism says that your spirit doesn't exist unless you go to school, you go to church on Sundays, and that's for about an hour, hour and a half, and then you should probably go home and cook some more dinner for your family, especially if you're a Black woman, right? Like, you got to go home and, cook out this full spread of Sunday dinner and be like that grandma in soul food. So I was like, I need to find something that can get my brain to calm down and that can soothe my actual physical body. This podcast is about my Black body, and who can do I really trust someone to touch it? Like, I've had these massages, but a lot of times I can't even relax a massage because I'm worried about where the practitioner is touching me. Again, a lot of us have sexual traumas or other traumas around touch. So I could get some massages, but even my massage therapist would always tell me, like, your brain never, like, they could feel my brain working. They were like, they're working on me and they're telling me, like, yeah, if you could just calm down, but they don't know my paranoia around, like, being touched or whatever in these kind of ways where I'm face down. So that's a whole other subject, right? So anyway, I am at one of the holistic places that I look to for, like, yoga, Tai Chi, massage, Reiki, like, all that is encapsulated in one. And they had this thing called sound healing that you could get one-on-one. And I was like, oh, that probably makes sense because I know how the drum feels if I play the drum or if anybody plays the drum. And I'm going to take it a little bit further. Like, I remember how it felt in my brother's car when they used to have subwoofers in their trunk. And like, how you could feel that subwoofer like thump through your body. So I was like, that shit might work. Like, that vibration might get into my body, nobody's touching me, and I could like physically heal or relax. I didn't know anything about it aligning your chakras or any of that. I just wanted something that could, help my mind relax and help my body to relax. After that session, I knew that I wanted to find somebody to teach me this modality. Long story short, I ended up approaching a woman named Danielle Hall. She runs a company called Sound Embrace Health, and she trains practitioners in sound healing. And so for an entire year, I worked at the salon, ran the salon, and I was her entire assistant. So what does that mean? That means in the beginning, Danielle didn't even know how fully committed I was. So I had to go to her website, find the date that she was going to be doing a public offering. I had to put them on my calendar for Honeycomb to make sure none of my clients came. I would work the entire day. I would get off and within 30 minutes be where she was in Atlanta, help her load and unload all the bowls, set everything up, and greet all the clients to come in, stay with her afterwards, help her answer any of the questions that the people had about their sound healing experience, clean up all, the entire venue that she performed at. And those were my first steps. So that went on for a year where I was following her, learning from her, practicing. She would tell me when to get my own bowls, how to begin to practice. She would, after a while, she would let me play like a small portion of her sessions, of her public sessions. And that's how it went. Danielle and I are now friends. She is still my mentor. I still see her as a leader. And one of the things that her and I talk about is that as a white woman, people tell her, because she started her company from scratch with sound healing and also is pivotal in spreading the healing of sound healing versus just the music of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a huge task on her because she came into sound healing through having a gluten allergy and not knowing about alternative medicine. And so now she knows that this actually heals your actual body. So now she does sound healings to promote it, in the medical field and in the Grammys and all this, because she's like, it needs to be recognized. So she has this huge mission. But I told her, and so for that mission, she has to work a lot, whatever. She's really organized. And so all of her friends and peers tell her, oh, girl, you work too much. You just need to chill. You need to blah, blah, blah. And one night, we're having dinner with other colleagues that are in the sound healing business, and I stopped her and I said, as a Black woman, no one has ever told me that I work too much.
Mm.
And it was brothers, our co-colleagues, they were Black men. So it was two Black men, her and me. And they looked at me and said, yeah, she's right. And it was painful. Like, that moment was painful. I was just like, wow, nobody has told me that I deserve anything in this capitalist system. No one has ever told me that I work too much. Just basic care of my human needs have never come into the equation. And even as I sit here with another white woman, she doesn't even recognize that is going on. Her telling the story is the assumption that I'm going through the same thing as an entrepreneur. And I'm like, nah, bruh. I got 2 full-time companies with sound healing and my salon business, and nobody is telling me that I work too hard. So that's been my journey. And so it makes me want to do sound healing even more for the community, because it helps. Every single time I do a sound healing for someone else, it heals me. Just period. That's just the nature of having the bowls. Anytime that I play those bowls, if I'm here by myself, if I'm here with 100 people, it is healing every single solitary being in there. If there is a bird in there, if there's a dog in there, like they about to get this work.
About to get this blessed.
You got to get this work. So, you know, I'm like, please, more leaders come, more women come, more people of color come. Please get wherever is in your community that does any kind of sound healing or healing modalities, period. You know, if they have sliding scale, whatever, please go and get this work done, because it speaks not only to your spirit and calms your spirit, your mind gets a break from capitalism. Your body gets a moment to say, I am human. I am human. I exist. I am here to be. And that, just in that, is okay. And then it begins to realign you into what your true purpose is, so that you don't have to believe the lies, you know, the way that all of us do, about what patriarchy is telling you, or what racism is telling you, or even once your uncle told you about you not being beautiful, or you not being smart, or, you know, you having a stuttering problem. Like, all of that during that hour, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever, you get to just be a human that God created. So It's amazing.
Yes. So much of what you have just said and your experience is all of what I've been talking about for like the past 2 weeks. Like, first of all, like, and longer, like the idea of this, like, Black people having to work, you know, 10 times harder than anyone else to get where they're at is like the idea of like the exceptional Negro, you know, like, we always have to prove ourselves before people will even look at what we're doing for, like, professionally. Like, we have to be the upstanding citizen. We have to be the one that's grinding. And it's not saying that other people don't grind, but like the grind is like something that we have to prove 24/7 in order to even be deemed valid.
Yeah. One of my mentees told me yesterday that she didn't want to apply for unemployment because other people are out of work and she doesn't want to take from the pot. What? I said, excuse me? You know, and this is an amazingly brilliant Black writer. Like, you're telling me that you don't, what pot, boo? 40 acres and a mule. You been old. Your grandmama's grandma been old. Like, old, like debt. Like, if we could reverse that to be able to be like, what am I grinding for you for? Anything that I do is a gift to you. Any clothes I wear is a gift to you, because you end up switching this shit into some more shit that you can make some more money off of. If I wear this shit in the hood, you're going to make billions off of the same damn bamboo earrings that I got from the damn, you know, beauty supply store for 99 cents. Now you're selling them for $2,000. Somebody owe you some money, boo. Somebody owes your grandma some money. So this little unemployment that you probably going to get $75 a week for, girl, bye. That's not taken out of nobody's pocket.
Right. And it's that idea of shame. Yeah. That, like, we have shame behind it. We don't want to be seen as like the person who, like, the person who, what is it? Food
greedy, lazy.
The greedy, lazy, whatever. It's all been said about us, and we're fed that every single day, and so we start to produce it. Like, we not produce it, like, we tell ourselves that that's the reality, and it's not.
I'm not going to be seen as a shiftless Negro. You know what I mean? I can't get a sound bath and take a nap because I'll be a shiftless Negro. What?
Yeah.
Right. Meanwhile, you literally have no spirit, no soul, and you're out here grinding for what and for who. And most likely doing something that you don't even like to do.
Right.
And then you're going to get on Facebook and Instagram and complain about how Mondays are horrible. Like, what?
Yeah.
Ain't nobody saying you had to do that job. You believe that shit. So we digress.
It's that's how I came to find you, was because I was listening to, like, I work a job that's very, like, physically and mentally taxing. And so I come home and I'm like, I need to take a bath. I need to practice some self-care for me. I was listening to these sound bath healings on YouTube and I was like, this is beautiful, but I look at the screen and it's either a white person or a white person who did the sound bath and is using like some type of Indian appropriation picture.
Yes.
And I'm like, I
Oh
can't.
my God. We talk about that shit all the time. That's why I even show up dressed the way that I dress. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, this is how I dress every day. If you see me at Kmart, or Kmart don't even exist. If you see me at Target, if you see me at Target, like, you're going to see me with this big ass hat on and whatever. You know what I mean? Like, because this is how I dress. This is who I really, really am. And there's so many people who dress exactly like that. I have wanted to make a post on Instagram for so long that, like, basically swipes somebody's, let's just be honest, usually some white woman thing where she's in, like, white leggings and she's super skinny or some flowing thing with blonde hair all the way tendrilled down, and you could tell she's California sun-kissed, right? And, like, this is what y'all think sound bath is. And then it'll be me. Like, but this is what it really looked like.
Right. And we can't.
Okay. I need to, yes. Like, whatever. If I had a full frontal lace front wig, bitch, I'm doing it. I'm killing it. I'm cute. Okay.
Thank you. And we need to see ourselves in our healing. If the healing is going to be about us, we need to feel safe. Like you were saying, we need to feel safe and able to breathe and like be vulnerable. And I just couldn't feel it anymore. I couldn't feel it. Like I needed to be held by a person who looked like me and reflected who I am in my experience.
Yeah, because every single time we've been taught anything by white people, it's been a lie and it's been a sham. So why would I sit there with you in my sacred space?
Mm-hmm.
Come on. Like, I sat with you for 12 years for you to educate me. Every single day. Graduated high school, got a degree, and went out and got a job. And the whole time it's been a lie. So you think I'm going to trust you with God? Get out of here.
Get out.
That's not happening. And that's not even being racist or anything. Like, that's facts. That's facts for anybody. That's facts for other white people. Like, other white people should be like, yeah, no, not in this field, because you be lying. Like, my sister, she a teacher. She'd be lying about that history every single day. Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on.
That is actually very true. Like, it's perpetuating it. And, like, we all perpetuate it in our own ways. But the idea of, like, not having safe spaces. I don't even want to call them safe spaces, but places where we can be vulnerable and be our true selves and not have to like perform for anyone and worry about what they're thinking about us and have to like play the caretaker, you know, as Black people or as women or people who think we're women, but like all of that, like we need those spaces to breathe. We do. Yep. We need places to just exhale and take up space for 1 second.
Yep. You're absolutely right.
So
you're absolutely right.
So that's so we talk about your journey. We talk about how I'm trying to catch us back up to what we were.
I know.
I love it.
Let's just flow with it. Like whatever comes.
Yeah, whatever comes. Okay, so we talked about, you know, being Black bodied in this experience, but like when we think about the global phenomenon of sound, music, rhythm, how does it play into connecting with the body and interpersonally? Like, what has been your experience?
So it's very, like, music and sound and vibration is extremely, like, you can get real extremely scientific with it. It, like, there are people study it the same way that you would study physics, because it's really, 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 really deep. What it does to your brain and what it does to your body. What the bowls do is it creates the same way that you do, like you take aspirin or you take other things that help you to relax your pain It does the same thing in your brain and your body. And so it hits these parasympathetic nervous system, which is like the neurons in your brain that say, like, chill. So it's the exact opposite of flight or fight and flight. It's to just like relax, digest, go to sleep. So the vibrations of the bowls and the gongs do that exact same thing. And it's been studied forever and ever and ever. Now, you don't want me to go into our current state of vibrational music, because then y'all going to be like, oh, she was black just a while ago, but now she's Haitian.
Another podcast episode.
Yeah. But essentially, the current popular music, especially for that is focused on Black people and that have Black faces on it, et cetera, the beats are used purposely to put you in a different type of trance state. Let me just really tread lightly right there. But y'all get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
so,
I feel you.
Yeah, so there are sounds that will make you feel sexual. There are sounds that make your heart really expand and feel open and loving. Everybody knows how Sade makes them feel. Period. Dot. That's universal. Like, Michael Jackson is one thing because he was like a multi-level entertainer. But Sade, it's period. Like, there's not one person who doesn't, this lady not singing, she goes up on stage and she sits on a stool. Like, and y'all still feel the exact intense feeling that you felt when you played her CD, because it was not about the visuals. So sound is just a deep and very, very sacred space. When you cry or when you are, what do you call it? Like, you're truly scared or distraught, everybody knows about that sound that comes from your body that's otherworldly. There are a lot of practitioners now who are using their clients' own voice and vibration to help them heal, because all the mantras and stuff from yoga, when you're doing those mantras, they are actually there for you to vibrate your body into that consciousness. That's the whole point. So when I was really young, I learned about ancient Egypt or ancient Kemet, and that was a huge teaching for my godmother during that time. Like, your vibration, your name, all of that is a vibration. You have to watch what you say. You have to watch what you hear. Like, she used to be on us about that, because that vibration is a reality. Period. It's a reality. And if you're a person who knows any of your own worth, you know that what you say becomes a thing. So I started learning that type of theory from ancient Egypt, like, at 18. So I remember being like, wow, Shana means something more than just, or Teresa means something. Like, we could all Google what our names mean, but she's telling me something deeper, like, whatever you name your child should have the vibration of that child's purpose in life, so that every single time you're calling that child's name, you're giving them the vibration of their actual life and destiny. I said, oh, honey, now this is a thing. Like, that is a universal truth. So that's how I felt about the mysteries, right, of like sound in vibration. I already kind of came in with that knowledge and didn't even realize it until I started playing the bowls and started reading about it. And I was like, oh shit, this all ties back to what I learned when I was much younger. I didn't necessarily, I wasn't practicing any type of music at that time. I just knew words, were a thing, and that type of vibration was a thing. Did that answer the question?
No, it does, because when you were talking about sound, is different in all parts of the world, right? And there's a reason. Right. There's different vibrations. There's a different way we connect with nature and interpret it, in all cultures.
Yeah.
But when
I just
Oh,
believe, yeah, I just believe that, like, in terms of, that's why I went back to the whole ancient Egypt thing and yoga and all that, because it's like there are these certain tones that are this universal truth, and drums are that universal truth. Saying a person's name is that universal truth. Like, all of those things are these universal sounds that we make that are universal to being a human body. But also, if I could take it a step further, if humans didn't exist on Earth, that vibration would still exist. Ooh, does that make sense? It's kind of far out there, but
like,
that's
no.
just the reality.
So what you're saying is, like, if we did not exist and bring our version of sound, like with language, to this planet, there would still be other iterations of that vibration, that sound throughout. Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Okay. Good.
I feel you. And when you were talking about the different parts of the body and how sound hits it, that resonates as well, because before we even, when we first started talking, we were talking about how there's different pressure points on the body, and when sound hits these pressure points or spots where you are, there's energy that's being held, or blockages. You know, some people call it, like, your chi, like, you can feel it loosening, and how that works with the muscles and with relaxation is powerful.
Exactly. So let's take that just in, like, super duper simple terms. So say I'm doing something at my dishwasher. We know that that's near my knee, and I hit my knee on the dishwasher, and so it starts to hold that, like, vibration of pain. So for me, Goddess, that's what you, like, just to put it in super simple terms of what would happen every single day. You hit that, it hits your knee in such a way that's so painful that now your chi, or your energy, is blocked and is trying to heal. That's why you feel that pain. That's why you feel that, like, numbing, whatever painful sensation. And so let's say you have access to bowls, or you have an access to a drum, or even how to hum. You know what I mean? And you can hit that vibration and begin to not only aid that vibration in healing and begin to clear it up. So sometimes you're just saying, like, ow, shit, and then other times when you're laying in bed, you may need to vibrate with it, you know what I mean, to open up that and to begin to heal it instead of allowing it to get stuck. So that's one type of physical trauma. What we don't normally recognize, again, because our culture doesn't recognize spirit, is that when you have a violation of your body, your mind, or your spirit, that same thing holds in different parts of your body. Why? So it can remember to not get hurt that way again.
Yes.
You know, it's so simple. And so, I don't like when people blame themselves to say, oh, I can't get over the fact that this, and this happened. Well, we haven't done any work to just kind of clear that out of your energy so that you can remember it without the pain. And so that there's a million ways for you to do that, and sound is one of those ways. Yeah.
So when you talk about that, of, like, doing the work, you also mentioned before, like, about, like, this upward spiral that singing bowls help aid in. Can you tell us more about that?
So the bowls have a way of clearing energy the same way that Reiki can. So that's why I said there's these million ways that you can kind of release, or that you can heal and do that work. And so how sound healing works is so the way that I was taught about life, evolution, everything, is that it's in a way like a figure eight. And so you get to kind of a pinnacle, and then you start to shift up, and then you start to shift down. Well, what happens with the bowls, and when I say evolution, I'm saying, like, that shift up could be 1,000 years, and the shift down could be 10,000 years. Like, you know what I mean? So it's all relative to, your existence in time. But the shift up with the bowls is a shift up in your consciousness. So it helps to clear out those things that were ailing you and help you to shift up into a higher vibration. So if I've been working too much, then I have to begin to, what happens in the sound bath is it starts to answer why. Why is she working so much? I'll feel a certain part of my body. Let's say I feel it in my solar plexus, which is my stomach. Then a part of my work as a sound healer is to say, the reason that you are working so hard is because you don't have the confidence that you're enough in this world. So you just continue to keep working and working and working and working and working. If during the sound bowls things come up in your chest, I'll say, okay, that has to do with your heart. Your heart is feeling oppressed, by the work that you're doing, and you need to lift up into and be in alignment with your heart. All these things are higher level spiritual modalities. You have to empty that out so that you can go to your higher and next level of energy. That's what those sounds do. In my opinion, the drum takes you so deep into the earth. It's such an earth, like the gong is this way too. It's such a deep earth-bound vibration that it begins to center you in a way where you clear out, all the anxiousness, nervousness, the issues that you have with consciousness, and begins to help you to vibrate in a way that you work even more in alignment with yourself. In, I don't know how to explain. If you think of like the 4 elements, it helps you to work more in clarity is what it's saying. Like work more in clarity so that you don't have all these other things weighing you down. So when you're playing the drum and you go into possession, a lot of the times it's earth-based spirits that are helping you to elevate to this new level. So a lot of times when people get the drum or whatever it is, like in church and stuff or in sacred ceremonies, a lot of times when they're getting possessed, it's an ancestor or a spirit who's wanting to come in, who is earthbound, and have that kind of conversation about how they level up, or how the congregation levels up, or how the sacred circle levels up, or how, whatever the group is. So for me, that's what the drum brings in, that level of like, this is your heartbeat, this is your love, this is your life, this is your actual body, and you just tap out. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You just go to this whole different level of heartbeat space.
Yeah, when you bring, because when you brought up the difference between like what, like a bowl sounds like, it reverberates in different parts of my bodies. I would say more so in like my heart and my head. And there's this one clicking noise that like really hits my pineal gland. Whereas drums, I feel in my root and like my sacral area. And those areas are about like, survival, basic needs, this physical realm and how to be solid and grounded in this physical realm. And I used to think when we talked about like the higher self or like, enlightenment, I used to think that you would always have to be like, go up, like as in, you always have to be in your head.
I totally get that.
It's a full, like you need everything. You need it to be
all.
Full circle, like a full, to complete the circuit, you need everything. And so when we connect with sound.
I mean, because that's why we can't even live on any other planet. Like, come on, like you're on Earth because it has these 4 elements.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be the same for you. Right? Like you can't go somewhere and it's all water.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You can't go somewhere where it's all air. Like you're gonna suck in that air and then how you gonna get thirsty. Like,
yeah, you're gonna get thirsty. But you're right. So it's about feeling it all and holding space for it all, and how sound kind of jostles things. When you were talking about church and like the movement of like the root, I wanted to like shake my behind. You see those like those
that Holy Ghost type.
Yes, just like it feels like that rocking. It feels like I am working with the music and with my
Mm-hmm.
surroundings
That's so true.
to shake out the pain and like
That's so
feel
true.
it and move it out.
Yep. Absolutely. I totally
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. So, okay. So we talk about church. We talk about, getting elevated. So how can one like do this in their day-to-day life?
So in your day-to-day life, you should try to sing. You're probably going to listen to something every day. So just be very mindful of what you listen to. What I do, especially after sound healing, well, I think we all do this. So like when you're in the car, you know how you're just like, oh, this song, and you fast forward it, or like,
Mm-hmm.
now that all of us are listening to like Tidal and all this other stuff, like we're just like, oh, I am so not feeling that song, or it's not. Like that is awesome. Always go with that. Always skip it or play it again or whatever when you need it. So just being intentional and recognizing how that works for you. So, and make whatever freaking sounds you want to out of your body. That shit is scary as hell to me. You know what I mean? Because it's like, what? I'm just supposed to talk. So everybody feels this freedom in the shower. So my biggest thing is nobody judges you in the shower. I mean, okay, we do still judge you, okay?
We secretly
We
listening.
do. But at least you can feel like it's socially acceptable because everybody gets judged in the shower, okay? So if you sing in the bathtub, if you sing in the shower, if you make whatever sounds, just don't think it has to be a song that you know. So if you want to take it a step further, you can just make whatever sounds or beats come to you when you're in the shower, in the bathtub, or when you're in your car. Just don't feel like you have to be restricted to a song. Or when a song comes to you, sing it. You know what I mean? Be with it. Be in it. Because, for example, a while ago, I kept getting this one song by Drew Hill, and I was like, why am I singing this song? Like, this is so crazy. And I was like, what is this making me think of? One thing led to another. My friend had passed. It was one of his favorite songs. His daughter called me and was like, I'm really missing Daddy. And I was like, yo, I've been singing his Drew Hill song for 2 fucking weeks. Like, that sound, man. And it's not made up. So when you're singing certain songs by certain people or whatever, and it's making you feel that way, go with it. Because it's a part of just your innate ability of being a psychic. It's your innate ability of being with the universal consciousness, and it's very, very real. So just pay attention and on your day-to-day basis about what's going on with you with your sound. The next thing is, if you want to do sound meditations, there are amazing apps. Like, I love Liberate. Liberate is a new app that's just come out in the last year or so that is specifically for people of color. We have an app, y'all, to meditate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Liberate app. I hope we can put this in the show notes. It's an amazing
Yes.
app. It has amazing features. And if you can do the paid subscription, I've been a part of the town hall meetings, and this guy does not want to charge anybody, but he cannot make a living without our support. So that would be an amazing way to support, folks who are really about our liberation. I know there's a lot of organizations, but the app you can still download for completely free. And then Insight Timer also is a really, really great app that you can just use all the time for free. And you can type in the meditation field like sound healing, and they've got a bunch of different stuff on there too, so that you can pop those into your headphones and be able to have your own sound meditations there. So there's a lot of resources. I'm starting a YouTube page. My colleagues are starting YouTube pages. I wanted one from the beginning because I understood everything you were saying, Goddess, about me and brown people not being represented in this field. So I wanted to show my face on YouTube because I saw all these other people doing it, and I was like, nobody on here looks like me. So me and all of my colleagues are figuring out how to make the best sound for YouTube. The thing with sound is so different from other the bowls and the vibration of the bowls. You have to get special equipment to record it so that it sounds correct on YouTube and on like we can't even do anything on Zoom. we can't do any kind of thing that is like a live stream on Zoom because it does not pick up the bowls. So during this COVID time, it's been like a lot of exploration about how do we get this to the people. We didn't care about no money. We didn't care about nothing. All we wanted to do was like, how do we get these people in their homes and give them the same resonance? The bowls are made of crystals, right? It's not a drum. It does not sound the same. The highs, the lows, the vibrations of it is like y'all have to physically feel it. So how do we get that feeling transmitted through these electronic devices, you know, to next door all the way to around the world? So we have been experimenting for 2 months trying to figure out how to make that work for everybody. So there's some platforms like Facebook and Instagram that work really, really good. And you can always go on social media too and type in sound bath, and there are lots of people on there who are giving, you know, live or pre-recorded sound baths from those places too.
Wait, okay, so hold up, because you can type it in and you can find them, but you're not gonna find a lot of people who look like us. You're not even gonna find a lot of like people other like
right.
races.
I guess we need to start a hashtag. Like we need to start a hashtag so we can follow the hashtag.
Yes, and also okay, so what's the type of equipment you need? Like, and how can we support you in this?
One of my friends, Trisha from that ministry, suggested that I start like an Amazon list somehow.
Yes.
So I gotta figure that out.
I can help you. We do this today.
Okay, yeah. Like I don't know how to do that, but it's like there's it's essentially just mics. It's like the type of mics that we need to make sure that it picks it up well. It's not a lot of equipment. It's just the correct types of mics to be able to get that, because I already have a computer and we already figured out that there's this program called Streamlabs, and as long as we have the correct mic, then we can do that through Streamlabs. The issue for me for my one-on-ones is like I have to do it on the phone because mine opened up a whole different psychic portal, so I have to talk to my clients. So I need help figuring out what platforms that I can use that are not on the phone. The reason why it's hard, like I still do it over the phone, but I'm always afraid of being interrupted by somebody's phone call.
Right.
So I'm like, what blocks the phone call? So I have the clients, I block the phone calls, my clients block the phone calls. And so right now we're able to do it on WhatsApp and Duo as long as somebody doesn't call and interrupt it. Right now I'm okay. So I would love a platform where, again, they make an appointment, it clicks, they can click, and then we're in, you know, like on the computer together where we're not having to worry about the phone connection.
Okay.
So yeah.
My mind's working. We'll figure something out. We're gonna make that happen. All right. So I wanna go back a little bit because you talked about how we listen to music every day and it does help us to tap into certain vibrations. Like when I go to work and I need to be the, you know, like a tough and like get stuff done. Like I listen to a lot of like female dominated rappers. Like I need that, like, I'm gonna come in and do this shit.
Yeah,
kind of
absolutely.
vibration. But then when I'm like, okay, I want to come back to like calm, peace, I'll listen to like beautiful chorus or some type of like mantra music. So it's all vibration, right? It's all a part of the greater consciousness. But we can choose what to tap into. So you're right about being aware of what we're listening to and what we're putting out there and what we're manifesting with our words, like words and actions, both. And very powerful.
I've wanted to say this, and I hope that I can say this on every public forum that I know of, whether it's white, black, Indian, it doesn't matter. Hip-hop is literally the only musical form that destroys the black woman. So the way that I present it to my son, the way that I present it to my friends is what I say is, when he says, when you hear Lil Yachty or you hear the baby say, she skeeted on my face, what image of a woman comes to your mind? Right? Like, what's the image? The image is always a black woman.
Yeah.
You know, when she ain't shit, it's always the black woman. There's no musical form out where these black men came from was the womb of their mother. It is the only form of music that gets into your bones, gets into your mind, really makes you activate, that teaches you to hate your sister, your girlfriend, and your mother. When you destroy your mother, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. You don't got nothing else because you have nothing else to be born from. Period. So you putting on headphones every single day and you like listening to something that tells you to work like a fucking slave to get money and fuck your mama. Like, that shit don't even make no sense. And you dancing and trapping and twerking to it. Like, it's a great time.
It needs
music
to
talks
be
about
said.
drugs and shit. Like, we can all, country people talk about drinking the beers. The hippie people be talking about being on mushrooms and shit. Black folks talk about being on Molly or whatever the new. But ain't nobody, people say how a woman can make them feel sad or how she cheated on them or whatever, but nobody does what's going on in hip hop now. Like, nobody does it.
It needs to be said. It needs to be said. And oh my gosh. Yeah, we need to have a whole nother show about that.
Yeah, it's horrible. Like,
that's like that's a family meeting.
Yeah, like, that's a family meeting. That's a family meeting. That's why I said I hope that I can go on every freaking platform and say it. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't care who comes at me. I don't care. Like, because I understand that hip-hop is amazing and it's beautiful and it influences the entire world and it is a voice, you know, for what so many in all over the world are going through. A lot of the stuff that hip-hop started from is from this place that everybody can relate to. Like, life is hard. These are the things that I went through. It's poetic. It's amazing. But this shit has gone all the way to the left. And now, you know what I mean? Women, men, everybody saying the same thing. Like, this don't even make no sense now. Yeah.
Well, how do we use sound to address and repair the layers of trauma that we have from patriarchy and whiteness? How can we use sound and to heal that?
Show up.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, for real. I mean, show up with your intentions. Show up with what you listen to. Show up with how many times you listen to that track on Tidal. Like, show up. That's it. It ain't nothing phenomenal, and everything don't got to be a damn rally cry to going to the White House to say that we don't want this. No, show the fuck up every single day in your life. That's it.
Damn. Point blank. Period. Yeah. Okay. I gotta go back one though. So
okay,
we talked earlier about Black voices and it originating from a different place in our body. And I want to touch on this because when you said it, I was like, yes, that is so true. It's one of the reasons why sometimes I can't listen to music that has a white person's voice in it. I just can't. But then I was also really afraid because I didn't want to talk because sometimes I listen to my voice and I'm like, oh my gosh, I hear so much similarity between me and a white person. And there's that shame there. And we talk about, like the educated Negro and this and that. Where does this sound? Because I know I have it and I know I'm Black,
Yeah, I mean, it's the same for me, like those different places that I use my sound. So
right, so where does it originate at in our bodies in particular, would you say? And then how do we connect with that and embrace it and love it and nurture it?
So normally, where a person's voice, if they're of African descent, is going to come from their diaphragm. So it's usually deeper. Like the women, the men, everything. So when we talked about this before, I was like, if you ever notice how a Nigerian woman talks, she's loud. West African women, if they're from Ghana, if they're from Sierra Leone, they are loud because their voice projects, and it projects from their diaphragm. They come from a center that is very, very different. So if we're talking about coming from that center, then, and everybody who's listening understands chakras, you know they're coming from the womb. They're coming from this original source. That's just the nature of it. So it's very difficult to come from that diaphragm and not like project, So that's number one, is just learning how to drop in to what your true voice is when you're at home, when you're not nervous, when you're talking to your homegirls, but you're not necessarily like excited. You're just talking. That will normally come from a very deep place. This conversation that I'm having with you comes from that place. Like if you call me 2 seconds from now, it's going to sound the exact same because this is what my true voice sounds like. When I am around white people and I want to sound proper, then all of a sudden my it goes up because where they hear and where they originate from, and for me to feel accepted, I have to come from the throat up into the nasal passage.
Yes.
That's where they are. And so for us to sound accepting, to be accepted by them, that womb space is scary as fuck.
Mm-hmm. It is.
That's uncomfortable. That makes folks nervous. So when we're going into these places where we're wanting to be considered on their level, it's not even conscious, y'all. Like, this is not some shit that you are thinking of. This is home fucking training from the time you were 2. Don't even worry about, you know what I mean? Don't even get hard on yourself and try to change this shit tomorrow. Like, you ain't got to do all of that. Like, this shit is American life. You know what I mean? This is everybody in their American life. Normally, we'll go up into this throat space, into this nasal space, because that is what the dominant culture is saying is acceptable. And so I have been, because I have so many clients in really amazing places, and they tell me about their experiences with racism, they're like, you have no idea what it's like to have a person be interviewed, go back to your colleagues, to decide who's actually going to get the job. And the person will say, well, she or he didn't speak proper English. And you're the black person, you listen to the person, they're from India. And you're like, they spoke perfect English. That was their accent. So you can imagine if a person from India, if a person from China is getting like, oh, no, you can't get this job because they have an accent, but they're speaking perfect English, perfect diction, all of that, like how we were raised. Mm-hmm. So, of course, we're going to go into that please accept me phase because that's just what it's like. It's like speaking 2 different languages from 2 different sources. When you come home and you talk to your mom, you talk to her this way. When you talk to your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your significant other, you talk to them in that like softer baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You come from a whole different place when you talk to a person that you want to have sex with. Let's just be honest, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you talk different to your dog. Like, for whatever reason, the baby voice seems to work with your dog and cat because you want to show them love. Like, so all of that is relative. I just don't want anybody to be hard on themselves to feel like, oh, I speak from, like, my throat or whatever, or from my nose. So that, but normally, African voices, people from the diaspora speak from a very deep place because that is just the origination of where our voices emanate from. And so different cultures have different places that they emanate from. And for whatever reason, white people come through the nose. And every single time you see a comedian and he talks about Bob, it's like, and Bob did this and Bob did. They do that because even white people know they do it. That's why it's funny to them. You know what I'm saying? Because they're like, oh, yeah, we do talk to that. Like, that's just funny. You know what I mean? Because it's so different from, you know what I mean, how some other folks talk. And if you talk like you are from China, there's going to be a different center place that they speak from. It's just how their culture and where their ancestors came from, they have just this softer tone and a different way that they speak. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, normally we speak from that place. And when you are in a place where you feel a total acceptance for yourself, you feel a total acceptance for how you're presenting yourself. I have gone through that, especially this year, in getting more opportunities in white spaces, in retreats, in these different places where white people are the dominant, because I've been a natural hairstylist forever. So I'm in there with black women. We speaking from our diaphragms from the time they walk in the door. I'm like, hey, girl, your shoes is cute, loud, ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? That's the salon life or whatever. So when I get in these white spaces and I'm doing meditation, you can imagine. I'm like, huh. Like my first instinct is to talk soft and to come from my nose. Girl, I don't talk like that. And that's not home. And that's not emanating home to them either. Like, that's not doing anybody any good. Because I'm in the healing space. Like, that's what I have to offer. It's home to you. So, and safety to you. So I have to come from a place of safety for myself. So I've had to practice for a year being like, no matter where you are, when you're doing the meditation, you use your Missouri accent. You speak from your diaphragm. You get low. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Consciously. And then teaching my mentees who learn sound healing from me the same thing. Once they get to a certain level, I have to teach them the same thing. I tell them, talk to me. Don't talk to the audience. Be yourself. You know what I mean? Be super comfortable in what you are so that they can drop into that and not try to mimic these other meditative, soft tone voices. Like, that's not, and it looks false. You know what I'm saying? It looks false coming from. So I'm just like, before you even get out there, let me tell you, don't do this. Just drop down into you. You may talk softer, but you don't have to eliminate yourself and mimic a whole different thing.
Right.
That's not real. So yeah, that's where our voices come from. And normally, if you stress yourself by using that higher tone for too much, it starts to hurt. You know what I mean? You start to get tired at work. You know, all those things, because you've had to wear that facade for, so many hours in the day. It just becomes physically actually exhausting.
And it's when I speak from that voice, which I was trained to do from a very young age, to speak that way, I feel cut off, like I'm not fully breathing. And and it hurts, like my throat will get sore.
It hurts your throat.
And I never thought about it that way, like, until recently. But it does. It cuts you off from your full self, from the full extent to which you can utilize your power.
Yep. Oh my God. You said that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes. That is
Absolutely.
exactly, like, you almost made me cry in that moment. Because, like, yes. I'm serious. Like, instantly I was like, that is exactly what it does. That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah.
Ooh, okay. So can you tell us more about what your offerings are, about your spa, and also what your aftercare looks like? Because that's pivotal about, like, I think the difference with your work too is like checking in with your clients after. Like, that's where you're talking about, that's where the work is,
Yes. So it's been pretty amazing. Like, when I started doing group sound healings, I was really always focused on creating a ritual around it and really wanting folks to share at the end. That's what really brought me to it. But people don't know what sound healing is. So I just was like, okay, well, let me just focus on getting into spaces. You know what I mean? Like, because nobody knows what this is. So can I just, and that's the same thing with Danielle. She's like, we're so early in the game, we have to just explain to people what this is to even get them to come to it, because they don't even know the benefits unless they come.
Yeah.
So just try not to put too much out there, try not to make it too exclusive or too deep, just an introduction of what this is. And then if you have questions for me, come up to me after. Well, unless I was holding space in my salon, because a lot of times I would do that like once a month, I would have just invite whoever wanted to come, public, whatever, and we would have those spaces. Like, people would open up a little bit more, but everybody was so scared because they just thought they were making stuff up. They thought they were crazy, so it was like, okay, this is just a lot, period. Because it's just a phenomenon. They're like, I can't believe this just happened to my body. Like, it's just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So it became hard to just kind of share those things. And sometimes I would get really lucky and get to a really open group, and they would just start to share. And then one person would say to the other, like, oh my God, I saw purple too. And like, it was like a big celebration, right? But I always knew that sound healing and bowls created a portal for me, like a portal into my own personal psychic senses. So I didn't know how it worked. Like, I could see clearly from the textbook how this color that this person saw, anybody can read that. Like, oh, you saw green is your heart chakra, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's, you can do those simple connections just by the literature that we have in Google. But something deeper was happening with me. So on the one-on-ones, there's this aftercare, because when I'm one-on-one with a person, Spirit tells me what bowls to play. Crazy. Like, it does that in the crowd, but the crowd is a universal, like, oh, this is a bigger crowd. Like, So these are the things that the collective is feeling. When I'm doing it one-on-one, and I can see how clearly they're telling me, like, play this bowl, now for this amount of time, now play the song, now pray for her for this, now do this. Like, I'm like, yo, this is amazing. Because what happens in the aftercare is when the person is up, we begin to talk about it, and they're like, I'm like, oh, this, and this going on with your heart. And they'll be like, because I'm going through a breakup. And I'm like, oh, shit. You know what I mean? I had no idea why I'm playing this heart bowl for 20 full minutes, and then trying to connect it with their root chakra. Like, I don't know why I'm doing that. I'm just following what they're saying, right? And so then afterwards, what happens is then there becomes a prescription. So Spirit gives a prescription on how, if that person so chooses, how they can further on their healing. So it opens up that portal, that vortex, for us to directly connect with you, your spirit guides, your ancestors, what's going on with your higher consciousness, and then how to also solve it. So we're not just like ripping off the Band-Aid of healing, like we're actually healing what is going on with you. So it's like absolutely mind-blowing to me. Like, I'm not one of those people that was like, this is just no. Like, every single session, I'm like, oh my freaking goodness. And every single session, I'm like, I can't believe somebody showed up to do this, right? Because it's like something there, like the bowl was just invented. Like, people are like, okay, well, I trust this lady. Let me go to this lady and see what happens, right? Like, there's nothing out there. I don't know anyone who's doing what I do. And, like, Spirit told me that early when I started the bowl. Like, you're doing something that other people aren't doing. Well, I was like, okay, well, that's obvious. Like, I'm looking around the United States, and people are even asking me, like, hey, I'm in Wichita. Like, do you know anybody in Wichita who does this? And, like, I'm Googling everything in Wichita, trying to find them a place to go and get sound healing. So I'm already like, oh, yeah, I'm in a rare place. Well, that was easy, because, not easy, but that was how I started with natural hair too. So I'm kind of like, oh, it's okay for me to do something that the majority of people don't know or don't think is popular. I was okay with that. But I had no idea that people would ever show up for something that is so mysterious as this and trust me with all that is coming through for them. Like, it's mind-blowing. And it's amazing. And like I said, every single time I do a healing for somebody else, it heals that part of me. I learned something new. It's a phenomenal experience. So there's that. There's still the group sound healings, which will definitely continue once the country opens back up. And there'll still be aftercare in those sessions or availability for me to talk to you about what's going on with your experience there. And I do tarot readings and I teach tarot. So I really love to focus on teaching tarot because what I understand about my life and how I feel the most useful is by helping other people to connect with themselves versus them feeling like they have to go to somebody else. So with tarot, it's a system and everybody can learn the system. And so I'd rather empower people to learn the system for themselves so that they can learn, they can give themselves readings, and then multiple generations after that will be able to give themselves readings and know that spirit is real. It's always around you. You can always refer to it. That's the joy for tarot for me. Like, I get to teach a divination system that helps people to connect with themselves more than me just doing the cards for you and being like, hey, does he still like me? Is she going to call me? Like, I don't have to do that. Like, you can actually do that for yourself. And tarot is so much the truth that when you do card reading for yourself, you're like, yeah, I knew it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or, oh, my God, I knew everything about that interview went so well, and so I know I'm going to get the job. Oh, my God, this is going to be great. You know, like, all the things. So I just want people to be like, I can pick up these cards, and I know this system, and I know that it sees me, and it speaks to me, and it's the truth. And there's no woo-woo weird shit about it. Like, it's just your birthright.
It is. That's all just our birthright.
Yep.
Ooh, yes. When you were talking about future generations, you know, like our lineages utilizing tarot, and that's why we need to learn it, you know, so that we're affirming ourselves and like, you know,
stop giving that power away.
Yeah, yes, like this like purplish pink came, and then like these like mandalas of gold like just popped up, and I was like, whoa, yes, yes,
that's
please.
amazing.
Woo.
Everybody, please listen, please, because I'm like, this shit is not. No one's making this shit up, yo. Like, that's real life. Like, I'm just so tired of like, oh, if I didn't buy it from somewhere, like, it's not real. Like, I'm so over that shit. You know what I mean? Not to say I didn't go through that shit myself, because I was like, oh, my car gotta be cute, my outfit gotta be cute. Like, yeah, but I'm so tired of the imagination or our spiritual gifts being seen as scary, which is huge, because if you see your spiritual gifts as scary, you won't do them, and you'll just continue to go back to work, and you'll continue to negate yourself. And if you see your spiritual gifts as imagination or made up, then again, you give your power away, because you're just like, oh, that intuition or that feeling in my gut, like, I don't have to, I'm just going to go with logic. I'm going to go with logic. That doesn't make sense. Negating your power again. All these things are things I had to learn for 40 fucking years, because I was the person who was like, that's my imagination, and get my ass whooped every damn time.
Right.
Oh, damn.
Same. So same.
Yeah. Or seeing a person and seeing their aura or feeling their aura and still getting into a relationship with them, whether it be friendship, work, whatever. Like, you knew that shit did not feel right. You knew you had that dream. But you thought she was making that shit up because you was worried. No, that was real.
Trust your instinct, boo. Trust your instinct. Yeah.
So if you're seeing purple, the divine connection, love, the golden light, like, that shit is real, and we should celebrate it. Like, that's your life force. That's what's coming back. Like, that's what everybody is saying when people are like, oh, people are waking up. That is what it is. It's not we're levitating and everything is kumbaya. No.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that we can sit on the conversation and be like, oh, purple, yes, boo.
Get it. Say more.
Okay. And being able to call out the other side. You know what I'm saying? And being like, oh, when you said that didn't feel like the truth. I saw a lot of darkness there. Like, are you being honest about that? Because that's a scary conversation.
It is. But we need to have those conversations. We can't.
Me and my son talk about that. Like, ooh.
Living.
Yeah, he's like, I'm telling him, like, oh, I love ignoring the negative shit. He's celebrating the positive. He's like, yeah, Ma, that's real. Yeah, like, I can't ignore the positive or the negative. You got to take it for what it is.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so we gonna have you on again. Like we gonna have. Please come on again, because there's so many things that you mentioned today that would have taken us on their journeys of their own. Okay. And those journeys need to be stepped into and walked on, and I want to walk on them with you. So let's do this again. Okay.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else you want to share before we wrap things up?
No.
Okay.
Follow me on Instagram. Connect with Shana, Shana. It's the easiest.
Okay.
I only go on there one time a day, so if I don't get back to you, I know people answer within like 3 minutes. But I don't have the little ding thing on my phone, so I only answer questions or comments or whatever it is that you need only one time a day. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram.
All right. Instagram it is. All right. Thank you so much, Shana. This has been amazing.
I'm so happy you asked me. I feel like that was great. That was so great. Mm-hmm. I had a really good time.
Me too. Let's do this again, boo. Let's do this again. So, do you like me, or do you love me? Please heart the episode, share the episode, and subscribe at sunseedcommunity.com.